formula, you want to use it for when you are not able to factor stuff. So the first method that I really want you to know is using the diamond method. And then the method one, the extension of that is just use xbox for when the coefficient is greater than 1 or not equal to 1. Okay, so I would consider that method 1, and that's all you need to know for method, is knowing the diamond method and also knowing the xbox method. That's part of all of method 1. Method 2 would be the quadratic formula. Method 3 would be completing the square. Method 4 is graphing. And those are the 4 different methods. Question?
So if there is negative for the coefficient, does that mean we start to put it in the xbox?
So if there's a negative coefficient, I would get rid of the negative first by factoring out a negative and then dividing everything by negative. And then after that, then you can solve for it. Because actually the positive and negative versions of the same will have the same roots. Okay. But we can talk about that later, because that was on the homework, right? Okay, so as an example, we would have something like x squared minus 8x plus 12 equals 0. Okay. So we can define a to be 1 because it's the number in front of x squared. Again, if there's no number in front of something that exists, then it's going to be 1 because you have one of them. B is going to equal to negative 8. B is right there. C is equal to 12. Right there. So one thing is to memorize your formula. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay. So now all we do is plug in the numbers. B is going to be negative 8. So negative 8 plus or minus the square root. Negative 8 squared minus 4 times 1 times 12 all over 2 times 1. Okay. Then we get equals to negative 8 equals positive 8 plus or minus the square root 64 minus 48 divided by 2. And then this equals 8 plus or minus the square root of 16 divided by 2. And then we get equals 8 plus or minus. I'm just going to go ahead and show you that the roots for this would be 4 times 4 divided by 2. This is an extra step you don't need. And then basically if you have two numbers being multiplied by itself inside the square root, you can take one of them out. So it'd equal 8 plus or minus 4 divided by 2. Since this is plus or minus, that means it's 8 plus 4 divided by 2 equals x, or x equals 8 minus 4 divided by 2. Okay. Then you would solve 12 divided by 2, or equals 4 divided by 2 equals 6, or x equals 2. So again, what we're doing here is we're using the quadratic formula, we're plugging in the values, and then we're solving algebraically. Okay? We're solving algebraically. Does anyone still need this portion? Okay. I'm going to give you guys a couple more minutes or minute or two. Question?